Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on Slant Lens, I'm down here at Grand Central Market, and I've got my lens, my super wide Iwerks lens, 2.8. I'm going to do some portraits down here of the different vendors and their stores, but I also learned a lot about this lens since the last time I did a lesson. I'm going to talk all about the things that I've learned, exactly how this lens was used, and really what its main purpose is. It's supposed to project light out of the lens, but I'm going to be taking the light that comes into the lens, projects an image on the GFX 100, which gives you a fabulous sensor size, large sensor, so I see a complete centric circle there. It's like, it really is a 180. So let's go shoot some portraits in the Grand Central Market. Most of the information I have here is from Don Iwerks himself, working with Kurt Swiska, because they talked together. Kurt saw the video, they talked together and figured out exactly what lens this was. They're all as surprised as I am that I have it. Going, how in the world did he get a hold of that? I got it through that lot sale when Iwerks left Burbank. So there's a couple of things that they taught me about the lens. First off, it's called an 870 format, meaning that 70mm print film with a frame size of 8 perforations. That's 8 perforations up the side. It's a 2.0 lens, which means it's going to be very shallow depth of field, but it's in that one plane that matches exactly the cinema dome where it was projected. It's a 180, 160mm focal length. That indicates it's an asymmetrical, not variable. And also, it was used to project the image wider, like I say, rather than taller. So that's a lot of fun facts about this lens, but you know what's fun about this lens to me? It's just taking really weird pictures with it, great portraits. So let's take a look at some of those portraits. Let's go shoot some more portraits. Let's do it. So when I'm doing this kind of run and gun portraiture, I love a light on a stand. I use this studio, the Litra Studio, and I can just take this and I just barely kind of feather it in to get a little light on the face. I don't want it like this, too directional, too much, too shadowy, or sometimes I'll just get it straight in as close to the camera as I can, and just coming up over the camera is going to give me a nicer look at their face than I turn it way down. So it's just a nice soft light on their face. So just something with you. If you don't have that, everything's just a little too dense, too dark, but you don't want to feel like everything is harshly lit either. Don't be afraid to ask people if you can photograph them. Most people really want you to photograph them. Most people are pretty excited about it. So don't be afraid to say, hey, can I take your picture? Carry some business cards. So you can give them a card. They can then reach out to you, or you can give their number to be able to give them the prints and the images. That makes it worth their time. But just don't be afraid to ask people. It's super important just to be open and fun and ask, and most people are going to say yes. When I'm shooting a portrait of somebody, I have a little bit of time with them. I like to ask them some simple questions, especially if I don't want other people to hear the question. I'll ask them something like, is there somebody you really like in your life? I want you to think about that as I take a few pictures. I want you to look in the camera as if you're looking at this person that you really appreciate, that you really like, that you love. There's a moment right after you say something like that to someone that they kind of open up for a moment. They become a little bit more vulnerable. And it's an interesting journey for people. They stop thinking about who they are or where they're at, exactly where they're at or what's going on around them, and they start giving you a little more about them. It's a great thing to watch. So this has been a lot of fun. We've shot here at the Grand Central Market for most of the afternoon. It's been fabulous to be able to be here. It's kind of noisy tonight as everyone's wrapping up and going home. But a couple of things I learned in this process. I do love shooting with this lens for a couple of reasons. I just get that huge wide angle of view, which is fabulous. I love that. And it just gives me, in context, kind of the person in context, you see their entire world all around them. But also, it's just a great kind of icebreaker. As I go up to take someone's portrait, that big lens are going, whoa, and I'm going, can I take your picture? They're always into that thought. I try to be excited, energetic, you know, and just, come on, you know, this is fabulous, and have them take some pictures. Most everyone says yes. They respond to that if you kind of keep them going, keep the energy up. So I hope you learned some things. We talked about the lens, the origin. Don't be surprised if you see this lens again. It's going to come up again. There's no doubt about it. I'll shoot it again, but probably on a different camera, just to see exactly what it looks like. So, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe here to the Slanted Lens. Leave a comment. Hope you learned some things about the lens and a little bit about portraits. So keep those cameras rolling. Keep on clicking. The Litra gear's going into that SKB 2011 case, so we're headed out. Litra Studio with a soft diffusion cover. Litra Studio with a softbox and grid. Handle for the studio. 2 Litra Studios with softboxes. DMX power box. Charging cable for the studio. Litra Pro and charging cable. Barn doors for the Litra Pro. Litra torch. Filter set for the Litra Pro. Collapsible softbox for the studio. Barn doors for the Litra torch. Spare batteries for the studio. Honeycomb for the Litra Pro. Barn door for the studio. So there's all that blinding bright Litra gear in that 2011 SKB case.